called to order at 4:01 PM. Could we have a roll call?
Okay. Commissioner Lindquist.
Here.
Commissioner Edwards. Commissioner Spillman.
Here.
Chair Spillman.
Here.
Commissioner Whittington, Commissioner Franklin,
Present.
alternate Flanagan, and alternate McCall. You do have a board.
Okay, next is approval of agenda and revisions. Are there any revisions to the agenda for today's meeting?
I would just like to request that we're cognizant of time and that the workshop starts at 5 o'clock.
For the historic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That our workshop starts at 5 o'clock and we'll need a few minutes to get set up for that. So if we could put a hard stop, say 4:50, that would be great.
Okay, duly noted. Any other revisions or additions? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
I will motion we approve the May 28th. Minutes, or no, May 14th,
May 28th agenda.
May 28th agenda. There we go. I move we approve the May 28th agenda.
I'll say.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Any public comment on items that are not on the agenda?
Are you here for the researcher home?
Just, my name is Jim Martin, and talk. Piece of property at Third and Poplar, Kiefer's old shop. And Danny Devine's property up behind that shop that burned down. And I'd like to build a condominium on that piece of property. And pretty much just kind of curious how the process works and if I can just throw you a quick idea and anything that you guys could suggest that would be along in this process.
What'd you call it? A barn?
Barnuminium is the term they call it. A steel building. But living quarters in the front half and just shop space, kind of where I'm living now.
Okay,
But a newer building and a little nicer living arrangements and all.
sure.
And it's been a while, you know, just mention to the commission, whatever, you and I.
Right,
Been months ago, so
right.
if you want to just refresh the commission on what I communicated to you so far.
You bet, you bet. So, as I say, behind my property, there's a fellow named Danny Devine that lived in, call it a structure, I guess, and a small garage. Anyways, that house, had fire and burned out the guts of it and stuff. And I think you mentioned to me before you touch any kind of building in that area, it should be assessed as to if it's worthy of getting torn down. And if anybody's familiar with that piece of property, it definitely, there's no sound.
It was a historic property.
It fits within that footprint we took a look at, just on the edge of it. Correct. And, who's the fellow that I called Steve somebody?
The fire marshal.
Fire marshal, and he hasn't returned my calls. But I don't know if there's another avenue to get a site visit to deem that structure's.
Yeah, I think our conversation had preceded on some of the recent work sessions that we've had on demolition of structures that we may or may not say.
Right.
Yeah, and so if it is, it sounds like it's not an imminent hazard to anybody,
No,
but
no.
so then probably the route would be to apply for a demolition permit through us.
Certificate of appropriate.
Yeah, certificate of for demolition,
Okay.
which it sounds like if there has been a fire and it is not salvageable. Yeah, I mean, we would take a look at it and would review all the documentation that you would provide and Chapin and his staff would
Okay.
assemble. If it's not salvageable, then you
Right,
know, we would approve because that would fall under our criteria for what.
okay,
And then there's a separate process for residential infill within the historic district, and that would require then a second certificate of appropriateness process for whatever you're proposing to build there.
right.
And there are guidelines for residential
I have some
infill, which,
of that
yeah, it looks like you've got it all.
Appreciate it.
And we can do, so the process is typically that there's a public hearing before us, and then we send a recommendation up to city council for ultimate approval or denial of that permit. You can also do a work session with us before the hearing, which is a more informal process where you come with sort of what you have in mind. We talk through it,
Okay,
what seems to be in accordance with the guidelines, what may be sort of falling afoul of them, and then you can revise, think about it, and then sort of come back for the hearing, and then that makes the hearing go more smoothly because we've already sort of had a
Exactly.
chance.
that's my purpose here is just to kind of get an idea of how it works.
Yeah,
The paperwork that I need to demolish the structure that's there.
yeah.
And I can help you with that, yeah.
Okay.
Get you, come upstairs and grab you a card. Yeah, probably. But it's like an application form, it's a 2-page application form, front and back. And then you submit essentially, there's some submittal requirements, like photos of the structure. And it's like, and you just have to write a narrative that describes the scope of work.
Right. Right.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Is Jim Arnold. So, what I need to fill out, as you said, this meeting will go over.
Yeah, so we're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, so if you want to, stop by and
So
explain.
I'll stop in tomorrow morning.
Sure.
But-
Yeah, I
And
can
then figure
out
out.
the whole paper.
And is it a site visit that someone would just come take a look at it the next couple weeks or a week or so?
So if you're submitting a formal application, so staff and we have an advisor, Mark is an advisory member of the commission.
Okay.
So we would conduct a site visit.
Okay,
For,
okay,
and then so the commissioners aren't allowed to all come to the site together, and they can drive by individually, but, they can't hold like a meeting on the site.
no, I just, somebody to take a look at it and go like, yeah, this place is.
Yeah, we would, and then part of the submittal requirements, and I can go over this with you, like, stop by our office, but part of the submittal requirements is, demonstrating that, the structure cannot be salvaged.
Right,
So you may have to have like a third party, expert, like an engineer, for example, submit a report
right,
to us that says, I've conducted an inspection on this and, I'm stamping this to say that I don't believe that the structure is sound.
right. I think it's so far gone that anybody can take a
Since
look
there
at
was
it.
a fire, maybe Steve Boyle will have some comments on it, or there's a report.
Right.
We could get with Steve Boyle maybe.
I had mentioned it to Greg and Greg's. Give Steve a call because he's the one that can deem it. I'll stop him tomorrow.
Sounds good.
And then, we can get that paperwork on. It's, when the weathers start turning good and stuff, I like to try and get rid of what is there. I'm sure the neighbors would appreciate it. But anyways, okay,
Yeah.
I'll take it from there. Sorry.
No.
Said public comments and you're.
Okay.
Speaking at the right time, so thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. See you in the morning.
Thanks.
All right, see you back.
Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thanks. Okay, any other public comment? Right, hearing none, moving on to housekeeping items.
I know it's lame, but of course I have one. And I did let everyone know Steve Mercado did make it up to Zoom, so he is okay. I emailed this, I think, to, probably just Stuart, I don't know, but I got a webinar notification today for CLGs. and it's about putting that connection together with Main Street and local HPCs. So, our state CLG is working with the state Main Street to kind of promote that togetherness. And that's one of the reasons we enjoy having Nancy on our commission, and that's another reason Stuart is a good addition to our commission. He is on the Main Street Board, but anything we can do, and anybody that wants to go to the webinar, I think it is on the 30th at 9 AM. It's just gonna be about kind of making sure that that's a stronger connection, because together there are grants out there, there are all kinds of things that we can do with our Main Street program being a CLG. So if anybody wants to attend that. And that is all the housekeeping right now.
Okay, thank you. And moving on to historic walking tour development.
No updates, hoping to meet with, Stephanie at the paper again and Joey this week.
Okay. Sounds good. Then next is El Pomar Grant Awards.
Okay, I was sneaky. I was doing a speed.
This looks
What would Steve do?
Mhm.
But, so I actually went to our application to see, and what I printed out for you in the packet is what I got from the application.
Right.
It says we were awarded $25,000.
Right, but they haven't been in touch or anything?
Yeah, I have, no, but then when I looked at the website about seeing whether or not you were awarded a grant, it says you'll be notified 4 to 6 weeks after their meeting on May 21st.
Okay.
And that seemed like a really long.
Yeah,
So, but it did make me realize I shouldn't be freaking out. I didn't get an email yet.
yeah, because I was worried when I didn't get an email.
I know.
from you.
But I found 2 different places where it said we were awarded.
All right,
So again, I hope I didn't jinx
and
it.
25,000 is what
That's
the,
what-
your snooping has revealed?
Yeah, in my snooping, because, and there wasn't a list, like when the state historic fund.
Yeah, they
There's
do.
a long list, and you can find your name on it. I felt like I was back in school, seeing if I made the cheerleading squad, then I made, first cheer, and I made anything, or. So, but there's no list like that for everyone, so I just went back into our application thing in
Mhm.
there, and that's what came up when I clicked on my.
All right, well,
So-
that would be fantastic.
I know it would, and then you can see my little scribbles, I just. I put on that, my pencil and didn't erase it, but that would be all we were missing, if that was
Yeah, and we could fund that either from our budget or
all budget for.
city
hall.
council.
The city would not have a problem giving us $3. So,
Yeah.
Sorry, about the chicken scratching down
Oh.
there, that's my snooping, proof of my snooping.
Okay.
It was from the.
Yeah, I hope, so.
Fingers
Fingers
crossed,
crossed,
that's
yes.
true.
Then that would, because then we would have full funding pretty
Yeah.
much for this whole first half of what we
The
want. to do.
whole thing, the rest of the whole resource surveys and historic context.
Yeah, and then we would just need to determine whether we want to stick with Metcalf or put out another call.
And we'll be talking to them.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I'm talking to them next week,
Okay,
just, I wanted to give them some time to get the new hire in and settled, and
yeah,
it's gonna take them a while to get on board, and I know that our next deliverable is gonna be all of the forms
mm,
as Chapin and the state requested with the additions of a lot more information. So I'll be touching base with them pretty soon anyway.
And right about the time we've been trying to touch base with them, they've been reaching out to us to give us updates and things. So-
They have been updating it, yeah.
And they do have a new project manager on staff.
Yeah, they have they actually hired 2 staff members.
Mhm.
I don't know, they haven't communicated that both of those staff members are going on to our project. But they have said, they lost 1 staff, they hired
But
2.
they hired
That's
2.
the good news.
uh,
So we're just.
So, and I didn't know whether to take that to mean, I know we have one devoted to us to catch our project back up, because it's kind of been sitting there,
They were trying to sort that out.
and I think that's, yeah. So I didn't communicate back. But it's been good, I mean, they're not been just out of touch.
yeah, fantastic. Sounds good. I'm glad that is moving forward. Let's see, then, planning department may report.
Yes, so going forward, I'm trying to start including, once a month, include a report that I give the city council monthly. So I typically give this report as part of the department report section of the city council meeting, which happens once a month on the second city council meeting. This is a way for the Historic Preservation Commission to see what is going on inside the planning department, including certificate of appropriateness applications, pre-applications, active applications, expected applications, those sort of things. This is not necessarily extra work for me, and it's something I'm already doing. This has been going on for almost 2 years now. So it just makes sense to include that in your packet really. It's probably just something I'm gonna bog down the meeting going through each individual line item, but put it in your packet. That way, if any of the commissioners have questions about kind of the status of certificate of appropriateness applications, that's there in writing in your packet, and you can certainly ask any questions about that. So you're gonna see the things that, that we have on your upcoming agendas for COAs, as well as kind of the status of projects that have been approved by city council after they come through HPC. You also see some zoning code enforcement updates, and I've been kind of trying to get varying ways to report to city council on that. Kind of the latest is that instead of doing this by individual property, I've just been doing that based on, since there are a lot of pending zoning code violations, I've been doing those based on kind of the status enforcement. And I'm gonna try that and see if that works. And I could, another way to do that would be to break that down by application type. Like for example, enforcement that is related to certificate of appropriateness applications, but I also have others that are related to zoning violations that are not things that are not related to the historic district. And then, so anyway, so if you have any questions on that, I'm happy to answer those. I'll probably start doing that. That's a conditional use permit. It is zoning application to be required for any kind of like a change of use for them. That is great.
Chapin, do you know roughly of those 6 written courtesy warnings? How many of those might have had a COA or a HPC connection or nexus?
So that moves on to the next agenda item, so
Oh, sorry.
you're fine. I'm prepared for me to stop sharing the screen and then reshare. So this is the spreadsheet that I showed the commission the last meeting. And I've hidden one column which has the property owner's contact information here. But, so this is for all zoning code violations. And if I scroll over just a bit, you can see the courtesy warnings that have been issued. So for any of these, this column describes the issues where there is a certificate of appropriateness that is required.
Does that,
There are multiple.
okay, does that list the issue like replacing windows or siding or paint or what? I can't really see it, so.
Yeah, the far left is
Far left,
like
it is.
RV and mobile home part, re-roofing.
Oh,
window
gotcha,
replacement.
okay. Yeah,
So right now I have 3, at least 3, maybe 4, applications in my inbox where now the ball's in my court to process the certificate of appropriateness. They've been sitting there for, 5 to 7 business days, on at least 3. So the good news is we are getting compliance. Some of these actually, we were looking at one today where a property owner, and so we actually moved this to resolve. A property owner, so let me hide this column, property owner obtained a building permit 3 years ago prior to our certificate of appropriateness requirement last. And then they extended that building permit 3 times. So in this, and then they provided the paperwork to us from 2020. And so in this case, so we received a complaint on site replacement, but it was this was a properly permitted grandfather project essentially. So there are going to be those kinds of run into where it's not necessarily just a cut and dry, they're in violation, they need to. So just know that we are tracking this and I can answer any individual questions. But I'm not going to share this level of information in the HPC packet, and it's planning department wide for all zoning code violations, it's not necessarily specific to COAs.
And I would like to ask the commission if this satisfies the request you guys had about putting the violations on there once a month, keeping us in any enforcement. You know, you guys were asking if we could have an update, but Chicken thought maybe instead of adding extra work to his plate, what if we just threw in a city council report on that once a month? And because he gets them ready for that second meeting, and so we could do them on our first HPC meeting just to make sure, you know, he got, sometimes we could fall into.
And two things to provide information, so I think basically on your agenda, we have the monthly report and we have complaints and violations. So I can basically do just what we just did, once a month. And we could even leave complaints and violations on the agenda for every meeting. But that way, I can pull up that sheet and we can do it right here. Anybody that have questions about a specific property, we can look at that. But not necessarily, we have limited time to staff, so trying to find ways to not duplicate, things. And so if I could, not have to export that spreadsheet, put it into your packet every month. It has some sensitive information in it, and it's rapidly evolving, like every day, I think it's getting updated, so how's that?
Yeah, I think this is great doing it once a month. I think that's better than once a quarter.
Okay.
So I think this is,
And I think if you could verbally at least go through and sort of highlight the sort of things you're seeing,
Right,
because that's
Yeah,
probably
sure.
not in this report.
right,
So just so we can kind of get a sense of what, issues there are, and do we need to be thinking
Right.
about what the code says, and,
Mm.
things of that nature. So if you could just do verbally a little
Okay.
highlight of it for 2, 3, 5 minutes, I think that'd be great.
I can do that now, probably in this time, we'll just do that going forward.
Sure.
Yeah, I like that idea. I love having the report here just to be able to glance at it and kind of get a sense of what's going on around town.
Right.
And also getting to see those complaints, as Stuart said, then so that we can think about like, oh, do we need to do something in code? Do we need to do something in terms of communication? If their trends are the same thing we're seeing over and over. or
Okay,
something.
sounds good. Yeah, I would say probably right now, there's probably 4 re-roofs without COAs. The re-roofs are all, they're being proposed with acceptable materials. One of them is like an EPDM liner on a shed roof. It's not highly visible to resolve like a water damage issue. It's not on primary elevation. So re-roofs, I think there's about 2 or 3 reciting projects, maybe two window replacement projects. They're out there. Those are kind of breakdown. Re-roofs, siding, windows.
Okay.
And we have some others on the kind of zoning code violations. We start reviewing. Great.
Okay. I guess that brings us to the end of our regular meeting. We have any public comment on items not on the agenda?
I'm here on the agenda and we're.
All right, how should we do this? Just sort of,
Chairman, do you also, we realize that we
Break.
stay convene until the end of the workshop. So would we just say that this concludes? Because we're hybrid and we're gonna have to go Zoom. We're not Zoom. I mean, we're gonna stay on Zoom, but.
So we don't want to convene the meeting or adjourn, so we'll keep the meeting open since we have multiple commissioners here that are meeting. This is publicly noticed, so I would say just introduce the next item on the agenda and say we'll proceed to that. And then note that that is an in-person only item that would not be available via Zoom.
okay. Okay, I guess we will then move to our next business, which is the workshop on researching the history of your home, which is in person only and will commence at 5 p.m.
Perfect. And we can just kind of take this break to set up in between,
Yeah.
but we're still
We will spend 35 minutes setting.
And I like, this was a new record
Yeah.
for our meeting,
I like this.
by a long shot.
Bob, if you wouldn't mind just making sure that, Steve Mercado didn't have anything that he wanted.
Oh,
to say.
that's true. Yes, sorry.
We won't go to hearing after.
Yeah, Steve, is there anything on the agenda or not on the agenda that you wanted to bring up for the meeting since you joined a little late?
Actually, I don't. I was just very interested on a lot of the details of what we're doing on with some of those, with those permits. And some of those things there that I need to learn a lot more about that. So I will spend some time hopefully with Chapin next week and work some one-on-one time there. Because I'd like to get a lot more familiar with it. I know Ann Snyder really well also, so I've spoken with her a little bit. So I just need to better understand how we as a commission work with those two entities, in processing and forming things, just so that I can make sure that I'm knowledgeable, and can add more value to our meetings.
Okay, yeah, that's great, and thank you for putting in that work to learn. That'll be really helpful going forward.
Absolutely. Okay, and I don't have anything else, but thank you for asking.
All right, thanks, Steve, and thanks for joining.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I completely skipped over earlier. The planning department mayor, I was gonna use that to introduce Alex.
Okay, I've been wondering.
Skip. I have all my contacts in right now.
Oh,
I want to see about this far. I have mine.
yeah, that makes the world difficult to.
So, just absolutely thrilled to formally introduce Alex Willis to the Historic Preservation Commission. Alex began last week, working as a planner one for the planning department. Playing a big role in assisting the planning department with, evaluating conducting development review on a variety of land use applications, including certificates of appropriateness. So Alex will be working, pretty focused with the Historic Preservation Commission. Alex has a degree in architecture, University of New Mexico, and has practiced architecture. And so he started working part-time, will be transitioning to a full-time position in the fall. And so Alex will definitely be working with the Historic Preservation Commission, probably starting off with smaller certificate of appropriateness applications. Working kind of the planning department, we're kind of trying to build some redundancy so that multiple people know how to do the same things. So we can kind of divvy up a bit. And so the idea would be I would be covering a lot of the evening meetings, like planning and zoning commission and city council meet pretty late. But so I don't necessarily have to be in the office, at 8 AM or early days. I'll still be, attending, these meetings, of course, and, definitely working on some larger certificate of appropriateness, like more complicated certificate of appropriateness applications. But then Alex will be working with you directly on, just this kind of that 85 window. This meeting started from that 85 on some of the certificate of appropriateness applications that are now subject to the code requirements we recently passed, like exterior modifications, additions, et cetera, which I think is experience in architecture, is going to appear. So sorry, I'll share everything.
Hey, these ones, but it was the historical district of Leadville. I'm interested to. When I was younger, I'm interested in just the new awareness of the nuances of the city planning, historical preservation, actually. So I did chase the degree and but the job even personally make a scene at my house. She's here. So I position. So coming full circle, it was Leadville, it is. I just feel so delighted to be in this position. Impact. Questions for anyone else in the room?
Welcome.
Excited that.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, so much of the work that we do here is related to architecture. I'm a city planner, and a lot of design schools, you know, break out their programs into city planning, architecture, landscape architecture, surface preservation commission, not in any particular order. So I, you know, coming into the field of city planning with a background in landscape architecture and no experience or expertise in surface preservation. And so I think that balancing out our department with some formal education and, you know, landscape architecture, city planning and architecture. Again, no particular order is going to bring us balance to our department. And so I'm probably gonna lean on, you know, Alex, a lot of architecture heavy things and they'll probably lean on me on some more land use interpretations just generally within the planning department, but, yeah, really lucky to have this expertise, with design and architecture here as we look into how to protect and, you know, sometimes modify our buildings.
Mhm.
Alex, do you have a card, a business card, Jeff?
I do have some upstairs. I think we'll bring some today and just pass them out.
Great, yeah, welcome. Feel like with the recent addition of our new commission members and then with Alex coming on board, this feels like a really exciting time for the Historic Preservation Commission and really excited for the momentum that we have going forward. So,
I love it when you.
hooray.
Very exciting.
And then, you know, we've been here for a week, so we've had some introductory conversations about the status of our survey projects and what that looks like going forward in the years that we talked about tonight. Also design standards, which I'm sure Alex will play a huge role in as we work towards those, maybe not this year, but in future years. And we even start diving into secondary material standards for the first time together today. So we're rock and roll.
Turns out that's what take you there.
Okay, great. Let's see, I guess we could start getting ready with Jennifer for the workshop in 25 minutes or so. If there's any technical preparations we need to do or.
We're just gonna rearrange the chairs a little bit. We were gonna use a screen, but I think we decided the TVs were better.
Yeah,
So we'll just alter the chairs a little bit and Jennifer's gonna hook her laptop up. And I think,
Stuart, do you want all of these emails from people who RSVP'd so you could have names? I have.
yeah, we did do a sign up sheet, so encourage people. to-
Yeah,
And
to have my regular sign-up fee, not.
Okay.
so you guys may eventually wanna come out.
yeah.
and See it.
Yeah.
Do you want to do some sort of announcement at the outset about the HPC or just sort of go straight into the workshop?
Just introduce the workshop unless you wanna
Just
do.
presented
You know,
by.
I might
Public
introduce you
Library,
and
yeah.
let you talk for a second if you want to about what we're doing. Jennifer's got a slide that sort of gives our mission.
Okay, yeah. We don't need to belabor it or anything.
I don't think a couple
But-
minutes.
but
of an
yeah, just-
overview hurts at all if you want to do that.
Okay.
That would be great. That was here. No. Really good shoes. It's really it's really good. I did a little bit.
What's going on, wait? I needed it to try.
Try to.
What do you want?
So many parts of the.
13 RSVPs.
Yeah. We have to see more people.
Right.
Or you can bring, you know, here. Next time you go home, you get dinner and relax. Okay. Stay on there.
What I hear. It's more than it's exciting, you know.
Okay, yes, yeah. She already did the whole dance in house. It's ever cities and it's.
Time for a meeting.
While, we actually want to you down. Moves back towards what it is. Yeah. To that. So like, when you're leaving the. Yes, which is. And it's pretty related. Now that existing or see that I. Yeah, cool, it's hard. Yes, yeah, go. Yeah, it's almost work. Yeah, it's you know, you're on the nice. Right. It's nice. Your body. Which is now now on 2 AM. Maybe some. Yeah. Okay, it'll depend some. Schedule. Yeah. It's yeah. Yeah, just to make sure we're doing it right. We have an to. Start the show.
Yeah, you should.
But, we have building a big two-story brick. And these, it's. Either important. But. And the issue of that, yeah. Since it's maps, seeing other report as music. And then the old Main Street is the street over. Main Street or Chestnut. Main Street or this. Over, meaning where. Storage, but I also. Building. So you're on this side of town, street. I'm. I find the only tree streets that runs east and west. So you're. Yeah, so yeah, it's like. Birds and chestnut. Yeah. It's interesting. Where I learn how to do. Western Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
Over here. Two kids are, yeah.
There's so.
Yeah.
Understand that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it's Sarah so. Well, I think that's the last thing you actually. Kind of, politics, right, it's gonna go. Our. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, she has a, she has a special. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, well, exactly, there's. Yeah. It's literally on the left hand side, bottom left, it sticks out on the, and. By command, it's shooting up. Yeah. It's just special engine selections. Remember my heavy session, yeah, you get it. It's better than that. No, it's just, it's actually be good. Well, she made a really, she showed me how. And I was spread out there. So there's a few of them on that. Yeah. He's there. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna take a minute with one of the tools. There, maybe like. Yeah, the team had. It's. Yeah. It's maybe closer to now. That's one, two. Yeah. Yeah. Everything goes well. Just the first, yeah. There's a water fountain. Yes. It's there are still so.
Okay. I'm good, we're good.
It's just like. Sketchy. You go 2 months. Yeah, we have this really old house that needed a lot of work. I really miss it. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with Mark. Yeah.
That's real. It's real.
So. Yeah, 3 times tomorrow? Yeah. Okay.
It's still in town.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, well, you know, we don't. Which we did on the last days.
Yeah.
Last two.
Do you have them tomorrow? So that can be more. That's the because you've been studying it's not maybe your house. Yeah. Versus people that. Sure, you're stressed out. It's a lot of actual repetitions. It's a lot of. You know, like, this is your right. Yeah. It's the she's seen it. Oh, yeah. It's right. You could. Oh, yes. With the lights.
Yeah. Yeah. Right before the big Mother's Day storm. You know, I just looked at the house, kind of a 26 city plow in.
Yeah.
It's not like you just got it, made crusty ice and melting.
Oh. Nobody's becoming here. One. Yes. So you think the next step?
Okay.
That's why I'm just. Yeah. So I might be a little bit late tomorrow in person. So I might be in here a little after. So, last. Sweet, we got. So tomorrow. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Alright, so you wanna come in, but going forward. After the one. We're gonna say, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be here until. Like one place. But then I leave it to 30. So you want to come in? Yeah.
I'm just, you know,
I thought he was already back. I emailed him about taking a look at our house because we get water in the basement during melt season. It's just like, yeah, and all we have is like wood posts holding up the house, so that's not good. I mean, they've been shored up and we have some like concrete under some of them, so it's not like they're just gonna give way. But I'd like it fixed. So it's nothing. And so I emailed him about that and he was like, oh yeah, I can come look at it anytime. I was like, how about Tuesday? And then he never responded. So, yeah, not anytime. Try to get back in time. But yeah, I thought he was gonna it's back, but
do you have family in Pennsylvania?
My sister's still back there.
Did you ever go back?
No desire to.
Yeah. Yes.
Just like. Yeah. Probably come out. It's great.
Yeah.
Such great people.
That's what it's just like, you see the same people on the street every day. Look to know everybody. It's just a nice community.
When I first started, 24, just like it clicked, it's almost like palatable, wonderful, feeling, just all good people in their lives.
Yeah.
I think I've met one asshole the whole time here. It's like, what?
Yeah,
It's,
pretty people, pretty laid back. It's just, it seems like there's a lot of stress. Not as many people are showing career focused work. Yeah, it seems like more lifestyle. Enjoying Mother Nature.
I bring my East Coast work ethic with me, and Joe's all young, take it easy, slow down.
Yeah,
Okay,
my wife,
I'm not used to that, but.
my wife worked in New York City for 5 years. She works remotely, so she's still works a 9 to 5 job, but she's starting to feel to ease out of it, but still has that like, I wanna be working. Yeah,
She's on the board for the Taters, is
She is.
she still on the board?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, she really likes it. She's says it's a lot of work, but she's feels like she's making a difference. She continues to.
Bless all those people on the board, that's
Yeah. When you have to raise $40 million.
Yeah.
I was thinking the next one of these, we should start at 5:30. Maybe let people get off work, get off at 5. Give them
Yeah.
minutes to get.
Yeah, yeah, this will be the start of more frequent public programming. And we can learn and sort of gradually work into a format
Yeah.
that works for people and that then also people can sort of get used to how HPC stuff starts at 5:30 for public programs or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, 5:30 to 7 will probably be. Or even
And I don't think
5:30
we'll
to
be here
7.
that long. I think Jennifer's stuff will take 30 minutes, 45
And
minutes.
then sort of questions.
Yeah, and then people can sit there, kind of research their own house and kind of understand things.
Okay.
Howdy.
I'm Stuart Frank.
How is it to have a helper, Jason?
Oh.
For me, like, for. Yeah. I'm on your plate initially.
Lost.
Find a chair where you can see the way.
Oh, wow.
It's been, wow, so, and I do the best that I can to answer anything that I can quickly, but that there's some, just, everything's.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's tough.
if it's gonna take me 7 hours to research and
Yeah.
do half a day of work just to answer it, but it's gotta get in line.
Today was out, it was 4 day hearing, so like 2 days late. So that's just gonna continue.
Yeah.
Continue. So.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, if you don't mind, that's a good stuff.
And it's really trying to focus it on. Certain awareness related things because like it's a some, let's say back. Certification.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna see where.
And there's a lot of subjectivity with it. Especially comes from when using interior standards for.
Yeah, that are very broad and
Very broad, right? Really ask. Get complicated in that space and also give them some flexibilities and like, make some modifications. And then, so that's the real.
Yes.
James.
Yeah, our kids have done a couple plays. They're. I've gotten all.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
How old are your kids, Nick?
I've been.
So, yeah,
And yours are.
they're gonna turn 7, both of them in July. Yeah, so right in between years.
Yeah,
It's a good age.
yeah. Are they close?
Yeah,
Oh.
they're in the same room.
Well,
Yeah.
that's some dark.
We have them in separate classrooms, but they go to the same school.
Yes.
Spins outside of those 8 hours. It's pretty much up their time.
Yeah, it's the same. But it's so, just so happy they get off. So. Good.
Yeah, because definitely when they feel like they want to sort of, you can tell that they know how to get on the other ones.
Yes.
Luckily, they don't do it too often, but they definitely, like if they wanted to.
Yeah, I'll take the same. It's fun. Our 5-year-old is much more confrontational than the 7. He like. Or if they're like rough house. Like the 5-year-old like will like be beating up the senator. You're like way bigger than him.
Yeah.
Use your body.
Problem is, he knows what the consequences are.
I know.
He goes too far.
He does. It's always the older one gets in trouble.
Yeah, do they like it?
They do, yeah. Cause, yeah, we were,
So were you down in Denver before?
yeah. And we're kind of our original plan was to do some
But then you liked it so much.
My wife likes it, I like it. Boys, like, that would have been, if the boys didn't like it, I think.
You can see one of his.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well.
yeah.
Oh, just one screen is. Oh, how are you?
Not. Oh, you know, and she was one of the. She did a very good scene. Yes. First. Yeah.
Is it still going? So what?
Steve Prescott
Oh.
walked into his driveway and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was gonna come here. It was gonna tell me last Friday whether he needed a computer or anything.
Yeah.
Whether it was a bar was or whether I said, I'll bring my laptop smart. And why wasn't he on our end? He's flaky with them.
Take that into consideration.
Here's another question.
Yes.
Thank you.
Stuart. Should I go ahead and get us started or wait another minute or two?
Just wait 1 more minute, and I'll just do quick introductions and then.
Oh, wait, I'm good. Yeah. you can
I'll just kind of start in. Yeah.
That's when Aaron gets to sit in front.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. I think we'll get started and get started right on tonight. Hopefully, everybody's got a seat where they can see one of the screens here. I want to welcome everybody to the Historic Preservation's first workshop. Hopefully, the first of many to come. This one is research, the history of your house. We're super excited you're here and super excited to do this. This workshop in particular is being done jointly with the Lake County Public Library. Expertise in it, and so Jennifer is here, she can introduce them a bit. Really glad that you were here helping us do this. Sort of general format tonight will be that Jennifer and her crew will go through a presentation, sort of researching that else in town and showing them how they do it. And then if you want to stick around after that and you have a laptop, we can sort of pull up the chairs and tables and log in, and she will walk you through how you can research your own house. So I do want to introduce a couple of people here. We do have a lot of historic preservation commissioners here. You guys want to raise your hands and maybe introduce yourself quickly?
Sure. I'm Scott Spillman, Chair of the Historic Preservation Commission. And I'm a historian, and have a place on 10th Street, just up the hill there.
I'm Nick Lindquist. I've been in Leadville for about 3 years. My background's I have a construction management major and I'm on the HPC as well.
Okay, anybody else, Mark?
I'm Mark Miller on the advisory committee. I just have some experience in historic preservation. I just try to bring my skill set to help out where I can.
And probably everybody knows Chapin Howard, or you guys just want to quickly.
Yeah, sure. Lori and our staff are employees of the city level. Jacob Shots, I'm planning director of the city level. I'm staff that supports the HPC with the development.
And this is Jennifer Rubio from the library, you want to introduce yourself?
So I'm Jen Maruco. I am the Deputy Director of Local History at the Lake County Public Library, along with my team AJ and Emma. We do all the historic research for authors that come in, their house, genealogical requests. And we get to sit in the beautiful Leadville room every day, so you should come in.
All right, and I'm going to ask Scott to do just a very quick 30-second overview of the Historic Preservation Commission, so we get some sense of who we are, and then we'll turn it over to Jennifer to run through this.
Yeah, so we're the Historic Preservation Commission. Some of you all might already know us. We meet second and fourth Tuesday at 4 p.m. here if you ever want to come and hang out during one of our fun meetings. Most of our work is reviewing any exterior work that goes on in the National Historic Landmark District on exteriors, also any demolition applications or infill applications. We also have some longer term projects that are going on. We've applied for and received more than $150,000 worth of grants to conduct some surveys of parts of the historic landmark district, which will hopefully build new knowledge and information about the housing stock in town, which will help us make more informed decisions about certificates of appropriateness, and help us develop design guidelines for any exterior work, infill, and that kind of thing going on in town. We're also trying to do more public outreach, things like this wonderful workshop that Stuart and Jen have put together. Also things like our annual awards that we give out during Leadville History Month in April for historic preservation work and historic preservation professionals in town. And we're also developing a historic walking tour, which we hope to get up and running sometime later this year, of sort of Harrison Avenue and some, important buildings around. And we're always available if you have any questions about historic properties in town, about the tax credits that you can get for doing work on your historic house, if it's in the National Historic Landmark District, or anything else related to historic preservation or historic properties in Leadville. We all do this because we love Leadville and we love its historic properties, and we're always happy to talk about those things. That's all for me. If you have any questions for us, you can feel free to come up afterward. But I'll kick it over to Jen to get going on the workshop.
Okay, thank you. So I do want to let you guys know, like, what a privilege it is to live in a historic preservation district. Leadville was actually a historic preservation district before they really existed. So 1961, we became a historic preservation district. Nationally, it wasn't a thing until 1966, so that's pretty fantastic for us. So I'm pretty excited that you guys are here. You want to research your homes. I think it's really important to know our history, to preserve it and be proud of it. So a little bit more about us. So the Colorado Mountain History Collection, we have over 4,000 items that we house that are related to Leadville and the surrounding counties. We are a small establishment, so we try to keep it like local to us. We are digitizing a ton of stuff constantly, so a lot of our resources are popping up online. So that's kind of what we're gonna go through tonight, is what you can do from the seat and comfort of your own home. But if you want some help, we are always happy to help you. Okay, so resources, and these are things that I have a little cheat sheet. I'll have that later, so don't put it into too many. But I decided I picked this house at 210 East 9th Street. I don't know if that's any of your homes or if you live near there. Originally, I thought it was this big house that you can see on the right of the black and white picture, but it's actually the cute little one next to it. So that picture is from our digital collection that we have. It was taken in the 1910s by one of the local photographers here. And then the picture on the right is the Lake County Assessor. As we all know, they went through recently to assess our homes again, and that was the picture they took. So we still see the big house next door to it. So these are some of our cool things that we're finding. We're finding little pictures in pictures of our house. So just some quick tips before we get started. So I like to create a document like a Google Doc, notes, whatever's comfortable for you, but to write down whatever you find, because I find I get excited about searching and then I missed a link, or I didn't write down an important event, a name, something. So always start with creating some type of documents to have it. There's no perfect way to do this. I bounce around between resources constantly. Like, there's no perfect way to do this. Have fun. Don't be afraid to go back if you've not missed something. And then search terms, like this house that we were searching tonight, it was 210 East 9th Street. But there's a lot of different ways you can look at 210 East 9th Street. Spelled differently in different directories. Sometimes you can just look it up by the house number. Sometimes you'll find the street number. The street name, street number. All kinds of different ways. And if you're feeling frustrated and you're like, I'm just not, it's not clicking today, walk away. Don't get frustrated with this research because this is. Okay, so Lake County Public Library, our online resources, we have our Colorado History Collection. So we have photos, we have city directories from 1879 AJ, and we're just discussing them forward, that are all searchable on our collection. And we have censuses, we have all kinds of charts on our collection to find. We do have some of the indices, like the marriage indexes and the probate indexes from the county. This will just tell you if this stuff existed, but it won't. But we won't have the actual information. You'll have to go to the county. Not the clerk and reporters. They have the actual. We can help you find this. So I don't want to get too much into this now because I want you guys to be able to play and explore, and it's a lot of fun. Colorado Historic Newspapers. These are a wealth of information for me. I go down a rabbit hole constantly in the Colorado Historic Newspapers. Again, you're gonna search by numbers, you're gonna search by names, all kinds of stuff. This is how I kind of find who's living in it. These are all digitized up until about 1926 or 27 we're at right now. Because of, so this should help with your historic home research. Even if you can't find like home, you might be able to find what's happening in the neighborhood. All kinds of stuff. I'm sorry, it is really hot in here. And I just came from sea level. I'm a little up. So yeah, and this is run by the Colorado State. They're just amazing. Love them. Our assessor's office. I was on there trying to play today and our assessor's office website is down. But this is a great resource if you don't know when your house was built. You can go in and it'll give you not necessarily the exact date, but it'll give you a really good time frame of when your house was built. It'll also have, it showed that it wasn't working, when the last major updates were done to. And this again, you can search by the map, you can search by the street name, you can search by your last name, and it'll bring all that information up for you. All public information. But don't be afraid of it. And then Sanborn maps. These are held by Library of Congress. There is one upstairs, which is a book, which is too. But street names have changed in Leadville. And house numbers have changed throughout the years. So if you're not exactly sure, the Sanborn maps are going to be a really good wealth of information that you can kind of fly through and go through. To find where exactly was my house? Was there something else on the property? So these were insurance fires. Somebody went through town, the Sanborn company went through town, they documented it. This was a residence, this was a saloon, this was this, finding that information. So I'm gonna jump out of here and I'm gonna go to our resources. Does anybody have any questions so far? Am I talking too fast? Yes.
They were working days,
Mhm.
so they were like one big fire. Like my house was 1888, but I know that newspaper before that.
Right.
So it's gonna take us before the big fire and where everything was just all with the
So-
1888.
Our newspapers. I like to start with the newspapers, like that's where I get kind of like the meat of what happened here. So the newspaper started here in like the 1870s. So I just kind of search. I can search by names, I can search by addresses, if I know who lived there. That's where I kind of want to know because, yeah, parts of town, maybe this house was spared, that house wasn't spared. Those kind of things, and these things aren't going to be. They're not gonna be perfect resources, like I like to tell people, if you can't find anything about your house, don't be disappointed. That just means that whoever lived there is a quiet, beautiful, peaceful life. And it wasn't all the drama that sometimes we made in Leadville. So. You know, I do.
To answer your question. They burned in 1880. It's not the houses that were, so they just stayed on there, they kind of did it. So one of the resources I use on answer that very question, because I could be assessors and it's all. Yeah. I'm going to the Sanborn maps. There is a gap between was the 1895?
Yeah, they work every year, but there's a lot, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
And the book that we have upstairs is actually a one of a kind because it was an 1895 original Sanborn map, but they came and put they taped and glued little, you can feel the rays on the thing, you always got little pieces of cardboard or paper over them to say, this house is that, the art is dated 1906, but you can't find that 1906 online. So if you see something from 1895 and that house isn't there on that lot where you thought it was, but then here comes the next round of Sanborn maps and it's there, and then I always go to that 1906 map and go, okay, that was there between 1895 and 1906. And I can do that. But it can show whether or not it was there in the 1888 year that floats on all. All.
Eighteen eighty-three to 1937.
There you go.
That's the range of Santa Cruz. Yeah.
They're gonna remodel of the installation, the newspaper, located 18.
There you go. Probably in 1859 with that. And Sanborn maps can help you track that.
Or later.
and that's why we don't trust like research and look at a bunch of different sources. Like you might find different information in all kinds of different sources. So like, do your due diligence. Like I said, with our picture that we had, like I thought it was the big house that was 210 East Ninth, and I'm like, no, that's incorrect. So I need to go back and edit our information because it actually has these two houses. So yeah, like I said, I like to jump around and play with this stuff. When I started, our image collection is where I like to start, is taking all the pretty things. So this is actually from our website. You can browse the collection, you can look at images, city directories, census indices, marriage and divorce indices. There's actually a map that we have pretty close to geographical points that you can zoom into. You know, if you know your house is in a certain area, you can zoom in. You know, I have 77 pictures of right here. There's just one hanging out and she lived on this street. Yeah, we know that Mrs. A.R. Brown, she lived at 308 9th Street. Yeah. So yeah, search around, like I said, I searched for images. And I just put in 210 and my home popped up. So I could see it, but then I also wanted to know, well, what was happening on 9th Street? So if you see in this picture right here, there's my house again, behind the kids at the 9th Street school. You can see the house from different. And yeah, so it's just kind of fun. I like to look at the pictures because I'm a very visual person. When I did go to look at it, which is in the Colorado Historic Newspapers, and check around a lot to do that. These are great. I like to go into search. You can pick your county. Obviously, we're in Lake County. And you can also pick Leadville. Usually, if you just pick Lake County, you can pick from what year you want to look at. And when I did 210 East 9th, and I'm not in the neighborhood, but I was able to find this. So again, I kind of like, yay, pretty picture. And then when I look at my Sanborn maps, when you go into here, look in Leadville. And that'll bring up all the Sanborn fire insurance maps that the library. They're really liquid digitized. You can go in and you can zoom into your part of town. Go on the first map. And it'll show the city. You can zoom in specifically to what section you need to look at. And I always like to look at all the information they provide me for this one. Yeah, I didn't look at it before I clicked. The 1895 map. And it shows you who worked on it. There's a population of 15,000 residents at that time. It kind of goes through all the little communities that were around here. And, the fire department, they just give you really, it just completes the picture of what Leadville is and where we're going. And then I'm gonna do our collection. So I'm going to search the city directories. And this is one of those things. Be patient with our website. It's created by a volunteer. That's amazing work. But sometimes it's a little bit glitchy. So I just did 210 East 9th. And it'll come up with all of these results. Which is not a whole lot. We know it exists somewhere. We have names. I'm sorry, I'm not actually. So yeah, so those are our resources. Like, they're really simple, easy to use. And I want you guys to be able to go and like research. So I have a few iPads. I saw a few of you brought devices. Yes, sir.
No need to do a survey, so. So there's, sorry, I missed this part. So there's, two sources for triangulating what we're talking about. Courthouse fire in 1888 destroyed quite a bit of.
Yeah.
And, from what Shay said, it was 1883 is the earliest, Sanborn there, right? Is there any, besides that, is there any other mapping that was done with Leadville? That is actually.
We don't have any maps from before then. There, I would say I would look in the newspapers.
The Library of Congress have anything like that?
Well, the Library of Congress is the one that has the Sanborn maps. So there, that's as far as they go with what they have on maps. And don't limit yourself to these resources. Denver Public Library, they have pretty extensive stuff on Leadville too. There's also Digital Public Library of America that you can search. They have a lot of the information that we don't have. You know, things,
But there's no other maps.
yeah. So there's other ways to find it, but not necessarily maps. Yeah.
And I would suggest when you're going through the Sanborn map, really zoom in on it until you think you can find where your property is. And sometimes lots were combined to 2 or 3 different lots, and sometimes there's just one little structure on it that doesn't look at all like your house, but it was maybe a horse shed or a corral that got put in before your house. So look at multiple years until you can sort of find something that mimics what you think your current property looks like. I noticed on our property that it had 2 addresses. And so once I figured out it had 2 addresses for a while, that solved a lot of problems doing additional search.
Yeah, so don't, and on my word is not gospel. There is so many, I found pictures of Leadville in the Indiana State College. Why they have pictures of Leadville, I'm not sure. Somebody came out here and did a survey. They were fantastic pictures. I'm like, how do I get access to these? Because these are amazing. But these are gonna be your basic, like, let me find out as much as I can. With the resources. Yeah,
Are there other problems with these maps upstairs, did you say?
there's just the one.
Just one? And we should go up and look.
And the 1906 version?
It's the 1906, it's an 1895 version with addition and alteration, but it become a 1906.
It's the only version that's not digitized.
What about access and that? How do we go about accessing?
So Yes, I have a little sheet for you that I can hand you that has the website for it. It's just at the Library of Congress, and you can actually search Leadville in Library of Congress. And they have a lot of information on us, like we were just pointing out to me, there's also these bird's eye view maps. That they're really highly scanned. So you can zoom into these really old, so this one was. Yeah. You can see, the Leadville we see today isn't quite, and they're not pictures, somebody went and drew. This is really detailed map of, what was happening at that time. And we can find, if you can find your waypoint, like, obviously this is a church, like, do I live near? I think that's the church.
Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, but you
Yes,
can
sir.
link to all that off of the library's webpage.
Yes.
All
this
the
is all-
that goes, the library's got links, so you just load their page and go to one place and you can find most of this there.
Yeah, and if you get lost, call us. We're there Monday through Friday. We love helping. It gets us out of cataloging. Like here's Annunciation Church, you can kind of pinpoint where you are from Annunciation Church in these maps. So it's dropped. Do you have any other, I'm sorry, I'm gonna spend this. Any questions, anything that I missed? You guys have time to play. Okay, all right. If you have advice, that's great. Emma, AJ and I, we can wander around to help you. I have a few iPads that we want to share, we can play with. I also have my laptop.
No, I'm saying the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, you guys, if you want to get on Wi-Fi, I'll give you a minute to go find your Wi-Fi, and I can read you the password. So,
No.
I might not have enough. If you guys want to go and your Wi-Fi locations and pull it up, and the Wi-Fi server is GOL. Yes. When you get there, I'll read it. It's GOL.
Basically, even. We finished it. Perfect. Nice job, sir.
Yeah, great, great.
Yeah.
What's that? Spin it? I'll take a quick picture.
Maybe you're, at some point, I don't know whether we should ask people here, but try to get a sense of whether it would be popular for us to do a tax credit workshop.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, are you guys ready for the password? Is everybody happy? All right, I'm gonna read this out and I'll take them all out. The CLL has was your team. Why? Do some else. One, 2, 7, 3, 9. 7, 3, 9.
We have.
That's not big.
We have like.
I missed the
Couple months at a time. Anywhere in Europe. Yeah, it's something outside. That's close to the end. From back. Yeah. So whenever you.
Write down.
So it's always. Coming back. Just stay. We come in after 6. Yeah. Yeah, we got back at 6 and drove in. Yeah. Everyone was came. Man, you guys had a good Yeah. Anybody else with finance? I had yes, I've got 2 weeks ago. There was like just 2 let's say it's yeah, and then of course, Parliament. That's where you end up being able to deliver. And that has exacerbation sure enough over the years. But we just did the Smith Street. It's kind of it's a small almonds and live in its mind. Sit out the door, and then short up, we could she can get in there. And then we can share up the still. This house was pretty good except for one of the sometimes just very bad. Where we just had to leave those. It's kind of nice. They do another one, they do the next one. So we just, they just sent me a picture. They just got their kitchen countertop.
Okay, so I.
So we left everything. Oh, it's really. So that's the kitchen. That's nice. Kitchen? Yeah. We did all that, but see if I can find a picture. You just look at it. You can't do this.
That's the main weakness. I'm gonna be permanent.
Yeah, but you can do it in such a way.
The standard for the ones that she showed work that are fire insurance. And then like what she has up there, that's just.
I feel like our house has been
Maybe
like
the-
back in 1560.
So you put in like they'll stand.
So this is that picture. So yeah, there's a lot, so we just pick everything and refund everything. And then Brandon did.
Thanks, we really appreciate you guys doing this.
Yeah, where's the guys? I'm gonna try to ask, if we did a tax credit workshop at some point.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, because any work that you, if you have a historic house in town, you can get like a 30%
Oh, that's it.
tax
That's
credit from the
sheet.
state on your state.
But
Sounds good. I knew there was a lot of stuff out there, but it's either
Yeah.
time and money or money and no time.
Well, no, so it'd be nice to be like,
Yes,
in this state of Colorado is such a maze. So,
well, if you can zero in on stuff like this is
Yeah.
perfect.
yeah. But
And
thank
I
you.
know they want to help
Tell
Leadville.
you what
Yeah.
page that you
Yeah,
want.
thank you so much for coming.
So this here's page 10.
Great, great.
Okay. And so if your house is in that.
That's exactly the same deal with that kitchen. I mean, it is truly a log cabin. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of fun to be able to do that. Yeah, yeah. I would love also to see what's.
which most of those, somebody came in the early eighties, like 3/4 of it. Almost all these. Yeah, that was so cool. Because I can know all wood. Nice job.
I wish I could, if my name was out there, we would have the normal 3 people. I love it. This is amazing.
This is exactly,
Yeah, ideally, yeah.
you literally have a full. And just, I took a couple of pictures, I walked around and take some pictures, what the people needs to see.
I think so too. I think,
Yeah, and
I'm surprised they didn't themselves to try to see what we were doing. How did the Sills thing? Get in?
Passed it this time, but they now have a in perpetuity requirement. For 50%.
Okay,
So they drop off before.
Right,
Now,
that's the
forever. It has to be legal. Locally.
love it.
So they jumped through a bunch of hoops, but we didn't do it. Yes. So they'll be nice units, soda cans, we'll probably get minimum 3 more pints.
Yes.
Yeah, minimum 50%. For the first 5 years, how much is it?
Right.
Dedicate 6.
Okay, for that,
In addition to.
Is this here?
So.
to that, they can do 50% local until after their lease is up, right?
Right.
Okay.
If there's every chance that Primex will not keep it, do it, and then it's still to be 50%. So that's at least 27 units. But even if Primex takes it, it's all workforce housing.
Yeah.
They still will dedicate 6 units for
Cool.
outside.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's not a cap on the rents, and they say that they don't need to put a cap on the rents, but.
Right.
That's. They're adding a small.
Small house.
So that's. Well, and.
Here.
So they're saying that that will be so.
119.
We're saying that you'll see.
So.
Exactly.
That's gonna be a lot of stuff.
And then.
Yeah, so if you try to put that in regulations, you might be able to.
No, that's what they want.
So there's that. There is,
You just price it up and then.
you still get a lot. So, put it right. Yes, very much. The capital first may not matter, but whether it's E versus East, 8 versus 8, 3 versus ST. I mean, that right there gives the plenty of there. Yeah. Does that make sense? It does. Okay, so when you go to search for names, you also want participation. Let's say you talk about what the name, you know, that live there, you want to know how much is in there. You want to put that name in participation. That's something to keep in mind. Make stuff that are not- They don't. And they did a lot of renovation. That's what they did. They did J. They did JON for John. But that kind of thing. And the newspapers did that.
Yeah. We had a meeting last week.
Anything that are less than.
It's not gonna get better, it's just there's a.
Yeah, changes. I think it's pushing. Start reservation stuff, just not.
Because we really think that we need papers that we have. That are. This website tell us.
Our last meeting was the first time we had a consent. Now, we don't know whether, so they sent out the consent agenda and to the council.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. What's your? Yeah, that where they put it out the time. And then you kind of. It's a. Yes, all the way there, yes.
Hey, can I ask one quick question before people maybe start to peel out? Just to get your opinion or thoughts on possibly the next workshop we're thinking about, and you can respond by groaning or clapping or whatever. But, we're thinking of doing a workshop on tax credits and how to receive tax credits for work you might want to do on your historic home. Does that sound like a topic of interest? Okay.
And then we'll have new legislation that was passed by the legislature this year that allows some of those tax credits to open up for residential properties. So there's more money in that pot. So.
And if it's available, use it.
Okay, well, that's great. All right, go back to murmuring and reviewing. You need help, Rachel?
Knock down. Exactly what I said.
I know it really. When you think a tax credit workshop would work well, you think, my first thought was September after the summer.
That's actually what I was thinking. I was getting ready to say like September, October is
Yeah,
when I
once the
think.
summer high. busy
Right.
stuff.
People are so dadgum busy, and if anybody did any work over the summer, it would be a really good time.
Yeah, then they
know.
could still have records of it.
Right. We're still gonna have stuff that they need to turn in. I think that's great. I'm trying to figure out if I just let Stuart do this one as well. I mean, there's some people at the state that, and Nan Anderson and some other people that said they would be more than happy to come and talk to us
Yeah,
about
the
it.
residential, we could probably, because Steve Whittington is applying for it.
Right.
I think that was maybe.
I think he has for his roofing. Yeah, that maybe we don't need somebody. I think that's a great idea. And just kind of more like this format, where it's an actual hands-on, let me walk you through a first few things. That is
20 minutes of here are the resources and then you start.
Yeah. And do y'all remember, Kurt Schweiger?
The main.
He came to our HBC meeting once or twice. And then somebody said just keep him on the email list, because he's like, well, he lives in Twin Lakes. And he has been doing their historic preservation, because they have a historic area. And, but him and his wife bought 4 houses, I want to say, right behind Twin Lakes Inn.
Oh, okay.
It's right on that first block right there. And they're trying to redo them and try to, I mean, one never even had plumbing. I mean, it was literally, they used it as like a shop, and once plumbing became available, they never plumbed it. So a lot of crazy things, no running water in it, and things like that. Anyway, he's been working on those, and he went for state and federal tax credits and said, big a pain in the butt as it is, that's almost 45%.
Yeah, you get both.
So he said he's been working all winter on it because they did their work last summer. And he said, I still don't know if I'm gonna get the state, that I got the state, but I still don't know about those federal. It must be a nightmare.
Yeah. When I applied, I mean, it was during COVID, so it was a little weird, but I applied and I didn't hear anything, And then the day before I was gonna do my taxes, the form arrived in the mail. I was like, I don't know if I got this or not.
Right?
Then it came.
And then it just came,
Yeah.
no, oh, that's weird. That's crazy. And I don't know.
Communication's gotten better since then.
Cause that is worth doing. I mean, to get that super duper extra tax credit is worth, when you've spent so much money.
Yeah.
That's really, I think that'll be a good one. And we did, to me, we didn't publicize this anymore to me than we do normally unless he had email lists that I don't know about.
Yeah, he probably, knows.
I know, right?
I think the paper probably helps.
The paper did, yeah.
And then hopefully once we get word of that, people.
I'll be looking for it a little more and be,
And if we have email. people, then-
Right, then we can reach out, make sure they're included. Because anybody who's wanting to research the history is probably gonna wanna.
Yeah, and if they've researched the history, that's, well, you might not even need to do that anymore now that in the historic district, anything over.
Right, it being an NHL district.
But like that,
But-
when I did it, at that point, I still had to sort of prove that my house was, yeah, I mean, it was easy. Just take.
Right. Well, like you
Just take
said,
pictures.
right,
It's in the historic landmark district, then
it's right.
you can see it.
Yeah. And the cultural resource surveys are gonna help us with this going forward and everything's just gonna be a lot cleaner. I think going forward. It's gonna take a while. That's okay. So few people have left. They're like, no, I'm gonna stay and do this.
Thanks for coming. Yeah, thank you.
Are either one of you Laverne? Oh, I'm Lori. I'm so glad you made it. I was really worried. She was like, I'll be there tomorrow. And I was like, oh, you have to come. Okay, now I'm very, okay. I'm Lori. We're sisters here. We just didn't know it. I was probably her mother.
No, I was so there. I was 6 minutes back.
I'm sorry.
No. Good thing today. I was like, so they're like, reading my best.
How's it going? Okay, yeah, I like this.
Sweaty. Yeah, we have a whole house. It needs a lot of love. The windows are like rotting out. The siding's falling down. I guess, I'm not sure, but like, we wanna honestly make sure we do the. There was something that might, maybe it was just printing the tax credits, but are there grants available?
That's something that we would love to do, but we need a funding source.
Sure.
And hopefully, as Leadville gets a little wealthier, we can find some funding sources. But right now, the best thing that I know is the tax credits. So it's a residential property. So there's state tax credits at 30 or 35% of the work that you do, whatever you spend, you'll get 30 to 35% of that as credit toward your state taxes. Not just for that year, but it's good for up to 10 years. They can just like basically, yeah. No, not each year, but you get that, what you do. And then you can just carry it forward as long as you need to, depending on your state taxes. And so
Like
like,
spread it out.
yeah, so like I did work in my house in 2021, and I haven't paid state taxes since. Because I just like have, you know, like however many thousands of dollars that each year I just apply to my state taxes. Eventually it'll run out, but by that point, I'll probably have done more work on this. And so that's nice. And but if you want to do some, I think one of our other commission members said that there's an exchange where then you can like sell that tax credit to somebody. But he knows more about that. If you wanted just to kind of get it and run it back rather than to sort of parcel it out with your state taxes. But that ends up then helping make it cheaper, because then, you know, functionally, you're only paying, you know, 70%.
And then if we are doing the windows, it's like for like, that's fine.
Yes, you still need to come here to change the shape. And, but it's an insubstantial certificate of compliance. We have two levels, insubstantial and substantial. Substantial is if you're doing like serious work. It's gonna change. Insubstantial is like, so if you were changing the size of the windows, that would be substantial. If you're just changing, just putting it in. And that's insubstantial. So look at it.
So there's paperwork online.
I believe the paperwork. The best thing to do right now is always asking. I believe that paperwork is online. We're working to update our website to make it. But in the meantime, Chapin and he recently hired an assistant named Alex Reyes. He's lived at like most of life. Yeah, and so Chapin and Alex are going to be handling all that, and they'll be able to look at. And if it's like for like, like roof or sign, they'll be able to sign up on.
The door. I feel like you could like push your finger and meet in our house.
Yeah.
On West 7th.
That's how.
Like at the top of the hill there. There's a blue house.
Yeah, but it's great to have, we're trying to make it easier for people to try to do work on their house and to do it in the right way. Because that's just gonna enhance the historic district for everybody. Plus it allows you to make your house more livable. Yeah, because these old houses are lovely, but sometimes they're like, oh,
Get that, remember watching. Yeah.
yeah.
You can like poke holes in some of the trailer.
Yeah, the paint is going. You start feeling like.
Yeah, the cheap. That's right.
Start there.
Yeah.
And then what do you guys get together and say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're not doing? What do you guys? Yeah.
So for the insubstantial stuff, we don't even really look at that. Chapin just gives a list of those and insubstantial. For the substantial stuff, we have a full hearing with like pages of documentation. So we can see the history of the property and what the plan is for that property. And
So like our garage that's falling down, we wanna.
so if you want to knock it down, that comes for us. If you want to turn it into two-car garage, that goes for us. And you know, then we take into account like, is it right on the street? Is it back from the street? What's your design? Like, how does this change the character of the property or the neighborhood?
Do you guys have a list of contractors that they produce with you guys and know what they're doing?
I don't do that. I love that because one of the challenges of Leadville in my experience is finding good people to do good work.
Yes.
And so, but Joey might be able to help you.
Yeah.
Joey and
Yeah. Are you a builder? I was asking Eric, like, a list of that know what they're doing. Yeah.
That it would be sort of within our purview to do not sort of like a gatekeeping, commending thing, but just a whole database of people that we like registered with us as competent. Yeah, I wonder if that. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. Oh, you refer, yeah, if somebody that we knew did that. Yeah, and we're. Yeah, it's probably best for it to be. I guess, no, yeah, just like for everybody to do. Yeah, if you hooked up, you know, refer people to people. Yeah. But that's like, do you do work on other things or did your motel occupy all your time? Right. So I don't know what I'm doing next, but I know I can wait. Yeah, you know what the next thing is gonna be? Oh, you mentioned that last time. Yeah, so I'm gonna do some more. Yeah. That's yeah. You know. Yeah. Yeah, what's the problem? So, yeah, the economy is not super diverse. Seasonal restaurant. I'll see. It's weird. Yes.
Joey talking to you at the Red Boxes, that's Steve Whittington. He is sweating to death in the jungle. She said, wearing his top t-shirt, they're dying.
So that he's having a great.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. We go down the last week we there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him.
I know.
Not to mention he's doing what he loves,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Rebecca, good to meet you.
This is in relation. So Scott actually, obviously has a house here and he's commissioned chair. But he also has. And then.
I live mostly in the neighborhoods.
I'm gonna start working on a grant for City Hall. Touch base.
Oh, October first.
Yeah.
And she got 250 grand for St. George's.
Oh, it's got sustained.
Now, those are.
No match.
Yeah.
Well, if you're up under the Bible.
We haven't been able to
They
start.
got the matches. They must have- I mean, people. Are gonna- But for us, trying to make sure we get match stuff. Then we have to write 2 or 3 other grants to bring in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the city will have to manage City Hall, but it's not quite as much for government. It's for private.
Yeah.
Well, let's not forget the $2,000 I got. And just after that week, I should have just written a check. Because that was way more than $2,000.
Yeah, sometimes that's how it feels, especially for the small. But at least if it's the state historical fund, they give big enough chunks.
Right.
Not just pictures. That made so much time. Well, maybe try to log in. Shut the Zoom.
Watch Velen, he wasn't watching this one because he was.
So I specifically said. Good. Because we can't. We can't do a presentation and Zoom and something, then.
That's sort of thing too. You have. It's starting.
So the grant was awarded in January, notified as contract. Said,
Months until they. Like for us, from the state historical. Tell you, but then so much.
Oh, yeah.
Delays.
It's not the state's fault, I think it's because seriously, no one knows who owns the church. The county tax assessor, and he says, well, I think St. George and St. George's, I think Jordan did it at the time. And then there was something where the diocese appointed Easter was. Never happened. So in all the scenes of the diocese in Denver, their attorney trying to create a new chain of title. I haven't.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not super high on there.
I see the answer. To fix up their.
So that's done. Can't get into the contract.
Is that where the diocese is?
Is that the American church?
Yeah.
Yeah, so St. John. So I've been down there a couple of times, just talking to them. The attorney. She's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, so it's actually getting closer. So I'm hoping that we can start to enter into contract with the state, like sometime in June.
Yeah, you probably. Yeah. Money starts coming in.
In June, there's no way we were gonna get any work done.
Because ideally, you would get especially April, so you can start construction right now.
Exactly.
Because if you don't start construction just in November, it's still snowing.
And I'm not sure there's much work that can be done. Maybe they're gonna shore up the floor underneath. That can be done.
New kitchen next year.
Apparently they did, put in adequate ventilation in the attic, so it's created water problem. So that's gonna be one of the reasons. It's actually really fun to work with them. So I don't know if you guys have been to these, it's just. It's nice to. You're all in time.
So just like.
Down there, it's great, there's a few inches of water in the basement.
Yeah.
Things like that. The roof. So it's super fun with this.
This
I'd love to get the highway river.
Yeah.
I'll just take a picture. Yeah, I'm excited. And if city council member thinks it's a little bit better, it's, you know, just to adopt regulations. It's not as soon as, you know, and if it's work. And maybe require.
Yeah, so I would still get the like shapes, like, let's see, mistake. But then I know.
I'll try to landscape.
Because that's the entrance. Yeah. Like I'm finally. And they would be like, you know, and then. So. So Right. You know, it's a big bit of your life. Yeah, that's it.
It's also.
The back of it is straight. That's a lot outdoors. Yeah. The drive is.
Maybe keep them on task if they adjourn, just to let me know. I don't want like commissioners to be leaving before we can adjourn the meeting. I'm just running upstairs.
Sorry, so we're back to the go to. But. No, that's I know, it was like stuck here. I go. Like I lost it. Okay. Not the library, but the history.
Yeah.
So actually, I don't know, it seems like really, all the houses on the are part-time.
It's a weird change for the historic district. Yeah, 100, yeah, between, yeah, anything 100 between like 3rd and 9th or 10th. And then it goes a couple blocks in each direction and does some weird sort of ins and outs. There's a map of mine, but
I know when we first got here, it's like. Like sign your house. Do you understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
But now it just seems like everyone's house that.
Yeah, because it's the historic district has been around, you know, like Jim mentioned, since 1961, but in terms of structures, That was sort of vague and open to interpretation for a long time. But recently, at the state and federal level, there have been some changes. So that basically anything that's old, that's within the boundaries, is assumed or to be.
And there was a statement saying that went to merge.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if, I don't think there's any local money at the moment.
Yeah.
We're hoping that there will be actually grant money sometime. But there are tax credits, state tax credits available for any residential structure. If you've got a commercial, you can get some land. The state tax credits are like 30 or 35% of whatever work you do. So if you do like $10,000, then you get a $3,000 state tax credit that you can apply to your state taxes that year. And if you have lower state taxes than that, you can carry it forward and just keep applying it for as many years as it takes to run that.
It is for projects that are to be done.
It's for projects that are to be done or have been done very recently, like within the last, I forget exactly what it is, but it's like somewhere between 3-6 months. And so, yes, if you have, yes, so ideally, I mean, they change it from time to time, but ideally what you would do is see Mark, it's sort of get a quote for whatever work you're doing, and there are some forms, and then you send it off to get like a pre-approval, and then once you've done the work and you have the documentation, then you send that off. Get the official approval with the forms saying that you have the tax credit. You can get it for internal, certain types of internal work as well. You know, any type of, I think they have lists of. But hopefully our next workshop then will be a workshop. Some of this in detail, but like for my house, I know we have like heating and air ducts that have asbestos tape around them that was sprayed. That's the house, but all that work helps extend the life of the house, make it livable. And so anything like shoring up the foundation, if you're like leveling thing, probably new siding, you know, anything like that.
And if you have colors currently that.
Touch, I don't think it requires anything. Yeah, we encourage people to use the historical, but that's because paint is something that you can easily change back and forth. It doesn't, it's not a big deal. If you want to paint it like spray paint.
I mean, we've already painted ours, we're not going again.
Yeah. Yeah, you can touch it. Yeah, it's mostly just, you know, we want to make sure people put new windows to their house, like putting on new additions, getting some eyes on it, making sure that it's like fits with the historic district. And to try to maintain as like the more money in development, put like extra set of eyes, a teensy little brain. How's your dad? What's that? Did you build it? Yeah, the things that they.
It got sent.
Yeah. No, it doesn't play under there. Yeah, and it got like 30% of 1,000. Yes, make sure I get a separation. Yes. So you go to history, just website, and it's a bit of it can be very difficult to navigate, which is why I workshop is the best. But if you go to history, Colorado's website, it might be a little. Anytime.
I mean, we're not looking at just.
Yeah, but it's good to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know, we just.
Great. Yeah.
came home and I could actually park the driveway without having to shovel.
Mother said we got like 18 inches of.
Yeah, just heavy, red, useless stuff.
Yeah.
No, it seemed like you guys. But,
So if you go to,
Yeah.
so you go to.
So, yeah, I didn't really-
And then they've got this little, you know, they've got a little menu that you can go to. And then if you go to preservation and archaeology here.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice job, you guys.
Yeah, that's great.
Wonderful to see it. You only ever see it full when everybody's back.
Yeah.
They don't make it.
To them it is.
Yeah, yeah.
They-
And then preservation tax credits here. And then if you click on that, then it takes you to their page. Where they tell you that the commercial tax credit is the residential one. So you'll want to look at stuff about residential.
And did you have to get approval?
I'm pretty sure I mean, it was a little weird. We did it during COVID, so. But, placing like. But it's good to just look at it. Email the person. I knew. Yeah, then they get information. And then there's a back.
What's that?
Don't unplug it. We
Oh, you haven't adjourned yet. Sorry. I didn't realize we were still on. I was looking at the other.
But, who's missing?
No, this one's fine.
So then they got instructions.
Thank you for letting me.
Where you got to do property information. And then stuff. Description of proposed work, cost estimate, project starting and completion date. So this is for the. And then you do the final one, which is basically, you know, that's, this is what I'm going to do, and then. Yeah, it's. So you can do that, and then they've got this form. Where. Then all this stuff. And historic district, and stuff about you. Owner information. A description where it helps to have. If you don't have a historic background or an architectural background. Historic, it will be. And then description of the work, so feature, describe its condition, describe so. Because it's a state thing. It goes on. For the final approval, you do essentially the same thing, but then with photos of, whereas before it was. It's what it looked like, and after it's photos of, so it looks like that. So they can make sure that. If deers. That you haven't. Yeah. So they want. Yeah.
So when is the next meeting?
Tuesday.
Okay, and then.
You can always reach out to, on the commission. To Alex Lewis.
Yes, but I just got it out of paper for this week, so it's got to run before we start.
So he helps shape it, he just.
Looking for my calendar.
There's some professor.
A professor?
Yeah, in archaeology.
I don't think so.
Or is he a runner?
In architecture. And everybody.
I do physical therapy. Name.
it change your possibility? What do you?
You know, my mouth tends to, you know, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, my uncle one time told me, says, you have to learn.
What
to
does he
keep your
do
mouth
here?
shut."
He just started the planner and so he helped.
I never learned. It's like, if you figure, if you button your hand enough, you'll stop doing that. It hurts when I do this stuff, but we'll stop doing that.
Plus being an additional. The city community.
No.
11, and then the
Which
20
gradually.
25th will be.
Like Chapin often snowed under.
So you wanna do this on the
Big stuff.
11th?
And so it's good. access to
Yeah. And then I'll have to,
responses.
who would I have to talk to about storing?
You're part of the historic society.
Preservation.
Yeah, because my back is.
Preservation.
I don't have a vehicle. I have to bring these things over to the
But
bank.
ideally,
And I'm thinking
we'll
maybe
hold a.
storm
Commission.
damage.
Would it, when would it be?
What do you bring it up?
Good.
Well, several, if I can
Like,
get it done. If my back's swelling out, it's starting to heal again, but it's still. So several boxes of documents,
Yeah.
Local history for us.
some,
Not.
chain of the various. And,
Maybe then they're.
Use my truck to bring it over.
Yeah, this.
I did like this. Now some people are like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like.
well,
Yeah, it's hard to balance with people getting off work and dinner.
Why don't you get them uncovered?
Yeah.
But we can try.
Get them uncovered, get them where you know where they are, and let me know. That's all.
Yeah.
But it's something just.
Oh, yeah.
really need drill, the drill is really.
Yeah.
Moving in. Because
Yeah.
when I was at my best, I could handle it.
Nixon,
Yeah.
just let me know. Uncover it, bring it.
Right, so this has to be done by June 11th. So, how do I get in touch with you?
Come by the shop. There you go. You walk in front of my shop every day.
Yeah, but you're not, you don't.
Because you send me a message and I'll get a hold of you.
Yeah, just tell Becky to let her know.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
whoever's at the front desk can get
All
all
right,
right.
let me see if I can, because I gotta move a bunch of stuff out of the way to get.
So if you can do that, we'd be happy to help.
Okay, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well.
Okay. Okay.